Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another film review. Today, we are going to talk about Moonfall. Moonfall was, I guess it was released in the theater first, and then HBO picked it up, and now it's on HBO. That's how we saw it. Um, IMDb gave it a 5.1, dude. This is what? They spent $150 million on this movie,
It
right?
is it's a fun, weird, terrible, great movie. That's the way I describe it.
They also
There's
shot it up.
there's aspects of it. It's great.
They shot it up in Montreal too, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, they spent 150. The budget was $150 million. Opening week in
Mhm.
U.S. and Canada did about 10 million. Gross sales in U.S. and Canada 20 million. Let's just say 20 million. Worldwide
Yeah.
is 60 million. They have not broke even yet.
hmm
You know, here's the thing about this show, and we were talking offline. This movie.
hmm
This was such a bad movie for like to be released in the theaters. I know what people were thinking. Oh, we have Halle Berry. Let's release it in the theaters, right? But
hmm
this didn't belong in the theaters. This belonged on a streaming platform as an episodic show, a show with like maybe 9 or like 10 or 12 episodes. That's how they
Yeah.
could have done it. Because if you take the back half of the movie, let's just say like at the 1 hour mark, from that point
hmm
towards the end, that's the movie. That's when it kind of gets interesting. I mean, I know they're building everything up with this like super AI and everything else,
Yeah.
but
They
it
could trimmed it down a lot, like a
oh my,
lot.
come on, like I mean, it was an hour of just goofiness, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like
Hmm.
the storyline with the family, and
Yeah.
he's like estranged. His wife hates him. Like it's all this extra stuff. Then you got to make him like a hobo, basically living out his car kind of thing. And he's trying to
Yo,
get a job.
not paying rent. Come on.
It's all this extra stuff that you didn't need to do.
Hmm.
Because I know you want to make him sympathetic, but it wasn't necessary to the storyline for me to like him or not. From when I'm watching a movie, I'm gonna like somebody because they're heroic, not because their backstory is good enough to make him interesting. Making him like a loser that make him like, oh, he's awesome, he's heroic. That's dumb. He doesn't need to
Yeah.
be a loser. Just make him cool.
Yeah,
Done and
that's
done. Like,
yeah, I think you're talking about who you talking about? Patrick Wilson, Brian
yeah,
Harper.
Patrick Rose's character,
Yeah.
they made him out to be like a super loser, and then he has to go save the world. I'm like, it's not necessary.
How
Like, it's
can
just
you be an astronaut for so long, work for NASA, then all of a sudden you get fired and you lose your house and everything else? It's like, dude, you don't have money saved up. You've been like going to the
well,
moon back and
what
forth
was
for
the thing?
years.
The government screwed him over because like it had like some kind of rocket failure. Him and Halle Berry, they're on the
Yeah,
same
yeah, and
thing.
that's how they first encountered this like super AI, you know. And the other thing
Yeah.
about the AI, they were like, "Oh, the AI became self-aware, right?"
hmm
And that's the discussion in the tech world with AI. It's like with AI, you have to have some sort of caps on AI, some sort of
hmm
guardrail with AI. Because if you let AI just run, it's a program. You're basically
Yeah,
saying,
could turn the
get better.
Matrix.
Right. You're basically saying, hey, program, run this, get better, learn. Right.
hmm
And so this
Yeah.
AI became self-aware and said, "Hey, you know what? The humans are just like destroying everything. If all these movies we've watched where
Yeah, it's always the
aliens,
humans of
AI,
the
like,
virus.
and it's just like, yo,
Yeah.
it's the humans, it's these people." And
hmm
I mean, look at the world. Look at what's happening in
hmm
the world. You know, you don't think there are like maybe there are like you can't. The other thing is you can't just be so super arrogant to think that there aren't other species in the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're the only ones here, right? But I'm quite sure
hmm
if that is the case, people are far more advanced than us and maybe look down and say, these people are ridiculous, you know?
Yeah, well, I think that if there are other alien species, they would look at us like cavemen. Right?
Yeah, for real. I mean,
We'd be
exactly.
like, we haven't made fire yet compared to
And,
them.
and it's not like we come to save you. No, you need to be wiped off the planet Earth, dude, because you're kind of silly, you know? Um, yeah, man. So I really like this. I thought it would be really cool as a show. Give me 10
Mhm.
episodes, right? Because you could have
Mhm.
built it out. You could have had really the graphics on this joint was pretty dope too. But
Yeah, visually, it was stunning. It was pretty good.
here's the
They
other
spent
thing
money on
too.
it.
But here's the
Yeah.
and that's where the money went, but here's the other thing.
Mhm.
A lot of the CGI, man, it looked real animated, right? Which it is, right? But it
Yes.
looked
Yes.
super animated. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, you know what? This could have been one of those. I forget the style of animation where it looks like claymation, but like on a much like higher level.
Mhm.
I mean, I think
You
what was
think
that?
so?
Gatto was like that. There was a show on Netflix called Gatto or
Mhm.
Gatso or something. And anyway, they were like sort of claymation, like high tech claymation. Just I
Okay.
don't know that genre. I don't know what it's called, but like when cars were like tumbling and you saw all the stuff coming off out of the sky and
Mhm.
everything looked a little bit like Greenland, but Greenland looked a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Greenland
Yeah,
looked
yeah,
a
well, I
lot
think
better.
because they had Greenland didn't have this much destruction in it,
Yeah,
so it kinda they coulda spent the money more wisely, I guess.
yeah,
Because yeah, they had basically upended the world, and they gotta destroy mountains and do all this other stuff. I
right.
thought some of the stuff was interesting, though, like, if the moon gets close to Earth, like, it's gonna affect Earth a lot, like, it's gonna
Yeah.
do some things, it's gonna
Mhm.
do damage. So, like that, like, the running out of air, that kinda stuff, that was interesting. Like, I know they did it so they could have a reason to have some kind of conflict, like the people mugging them or whatever. Like, but it was that's what I'm saying. Like, it was still interesting. I didn't hate it. I wasn't. I said like I'm never gonna watch this again, but like I didn't hate it
Well,
though.
well,
I
you
thought
know
that
what?
was fine.
According to them, we may have a sequel. It ended with sort of like, hey, it's like we have a sequel coming up. It ended that
Well,
way.
because the guy got integrated into the moon, didn't he? Like the
Yeah.
the other
Mhm.
the nerd guy that came with the
Right.
Hollow Earth thing. I've never heard
Exactly.
of Hollow Earth. I mean Hollow Moon up until just now. That's the
Casey
first time I've ever
Horseman.
heard
That's his
anybody.
name. Casey
Yeah,
Horseman.
but
Mhm.
say like I've never heard of any kind of theory for a Hollow Moon ever before until just
Never.
now. That's the first time I've heard about it.
Never.
I'm not saying
It's
it's not a thing, but like I never uh, I like astrology, like, I mean, astronomy. I like all
mhm.
that stuff, and I've been interested in these kind of things for a long time. It's the first I've ever heard of it. I know there's the theory about like asteroids could be hollowed out or whatever. Like I've heard that, but like actual planet sized thing, that's a first for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing is, okay, so again, they started off this movie where they had some space stuff going on, some like drama and everything, right?
Mm,
And then they found out or come to realize that, hey, you know what, this alien or whatever it is super intelligent, is
mm.
self-aware, everything else, right? No one throughout the entire, what was this, like a 2 hour and like 20-minute movie or something like that?
Yeah, it's
N-
long. It's a long
no,
movie.
no one wanted to know who was or who is or what is the alien. How can we learn? Can we
Mhm.
communicate with it? You know?
They didn't bother
Um,
doing anything. They just flew up
no.
there like, "All right, let's get this thing out of the way."
Let's kill it.
Like,
Let's throw nukes at it. Like just like, like people on
mhm.
Earth would do, people who have nukes would
But
do,
that
like,
that's
you
the
know?
same it's the same plot point as Independence Day.
Yeah. Mhm.
'Cause then Will Smith, he went up to the mothership with nukes. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
And this guy directed like
Yeah,
Independence Day.
Emerald, yeah, he did both of them.
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, he did,
Emmerich.
both of them.
He did both of them. So if you think about it that way, like if you got rid of like all the walking and talking stuff and you just got right to it, right?
Mhm.
Now you had the
It would've been
ability,
better.
yeah, and you also have the ability to extend the alien, storyline. Let's create like a couple episodes where there's a way
Mhm.
to communicate with the alien. This is a super AI. I mean, the Americans did create this AI. It just became self-aware, right?
Yeah, yeah, that whole thing was so confusing about where the AI came from and how it started or whatever.
Yeah,
It is actually confusing. Like
yeah.
that part was like that's when it lost me. Like I was like the overall movie was okay. It was
Mhm.
interesting. I liked the conflict and the stuff that was going on Earth, but once you got into the when it got into the moon thing and the AI was attacking them, I was like, okay, this is dumb.
And then what about the country people, who were
The
just like
hillbillies.
ripped off like the car and everything. I'm like, okay, the world is about to be destroyed, and you have these people ripping off other people,
Mhm.
right? That's when someone
Yeah.
needs to come up and say, you know what, you don't belong here anymore, and
Mhm.
it's over.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just like people are dying, and you're out here ripping people off. I mean, I can,
Yeah, but
you
that would
know,
I think that would 100% happen. Like, I think the society would delve into chaos after that
Yeah, for
point.
sure. I mean, like that's just how things are. I mean, like look at all
Mhm.
the sort of things that happen around race, and then when they start rioting and like busting up cities, it's just like that's
Oh,
what they
yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's just like,
Once you start running
okay,
out of
we're
food
angry.
and air or whatever, then
Yeah,
people
right,
just get real
exactly.
primal.
Yeah, so yeah, I think this movie, man, it's the movie was kind of good, but it was also kind of sad because there was
Yeah.
so much that you can do with this movie. There was so much that you could have done with this
Yeah,
movie.
it's kind of a wasted opportunity because like,
So
Greenland
much.
was a similar premise, but it was
Tomorrow
done
World
with
as
more
well.
heart.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just done with more heart and more emotion. Because like, I think they tried to be like a comedy too much,
Yeah,
and then they
that's like I
tried
don't get
to
that. This is serious stuff.
yeah, it was like a comedy, it was like
Mhm.
silly, and then they were like, "Oh, look, this is something you should be sad about. Like, he's gonna leave his kid down here." Like, I was like, Ugh.
And
I don't know. Like, it
yeah.
was like you got to pick a lane. If it's gonna be a drama, be a drama. If it's gonna be, because you can have some levity in it, but like, it was like a silly slapstick comedy, but also a drama, but also sci-fi movie. Like, you kind of you had to narrow it down. In each part of the movie was, a different genre, or style of film.
Right.
So like, it would have made more sense to me, like, if you just kept it a drama the whole way through,
Yeah.
and kept that energy. Like, it was more interesting to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't. It felt silly, and it felt like it was like a bunch of people, like, you're getting studio notes, like, we need a joke here, we got to be more like Marvel, we
Right.
got like,
Right.
that's what it
Exactly.
felt like.
Mhm.
So there's some executive like, it'd be funny if the moon was hollow, and like, okay, we got to write a whole thing about moon hollow now.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like one cohesive story.
Now, when they showed like just the inside of the moon, I was like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Why wasn't
Hmm.
that extended? Why isn't that like, an episode or two episodes or, again, this
Hmm.
is not a movie. It should be a show,
Hmm.
get rid of all the goofiness. And like I said
Yeah.
previously, Halle Berry was in a CBS show called Extent, and she did it for 2 seasons. It was the show was dope, and they just
Hmm.
cut it. They were like, no more, after two
Hmm.
seasons. And when you think about Greenland, we gave Greenland Film of the Year, right?
That was a great
Like
movie.
two
That
years
was a
ago,
great
right?
movie.
So the
Yeah.
thing about Greenland is it started and it just got right into it. And that was a
Yeah.
2 hour movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they got into it. You see, I think when you take this genre of movie, just like the world is going to be destroyed, it's an asteroid, it's the moon, whatever, right?
Hmm.
You can nail this. You just have to know how, and you got to get rid of all that goofiness, all that like dead air. You got to get rid of all
Yeah.
that stuff, man, because it
Wasn't
doesn't
that
work.
the same plot point? Like, a strained father, he's got a son, and he's got his wife, and he got to
Well,
go save them.
he was
It's the
still
exact
living
same
with
thing, wasn't it?
right because in as a matter of fact
Well, she
in
cheated. Oh, he cheated on her though. That was the other thing.
well, is in Tomorrow World, it was the same thing. It was like an estranged, father,
Hmm.
husband, and
Gotta
things
go
sort
save
of
the
kicked
world.
off. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you okay, so Moonfall with Halle Berry, and let me just say
Hmm.
this as well. I just want to put it out there. I
Hmm.
am not a huge Halle Berry fan, right? However,
Yeah,
however,
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Halle Berry she belongs on a pedestal. She
Hmm.
is a rock star. She is in a hall of fame. She is just she does work. I'm just not a fan
Hmm.
of her art. That's it. And I've watched stuff
Okay.
with her and everything. Like I said, Extent, she killed it. I mean, I don't know why
Hmm.
they like, just canceled that after two
Hmm.
seasons. But I'm not a fan, but but I do like Halle Berry because, she's one of those people in our community. You just got to put her on the pedestal. She's just done so much. So, you know,
Okay.
so kudos to Halle Berry. And the other thing is because this was a $150 million budget,
Hmm.
Halle Berry got a nice bag.
Oh, she got paid. Everybody got paid.
You know, she got a nice bag. So let me ask you
Yeah.
this here. Okay, it looks like they're gonna come
Mhm.
out with a sequel, but
You
Moonfall.
think they're gonna make another one? Do you think they
They
did
said
enough to
it.
make money? Oh, they
Yeah.
did say it?
Well, I don't think that, you know what, if they're smart, right? If
Mhm.
HBO is smart, take this and make it episodic, right? Make it episodic. Make it a show. Give me 10 episodes, right? I
Well,
think if
like,
you did that, it'd be
you gotta
better.
change the actors, though, if you do a show, because like, Callie's busy, so is Patrick Wilson. I don't know if you got
I
time for
know,
that.
you know, but you got to back up the Brinks truck, dude, if you want him to like be on set for 2 or 3 months, right?
Yeah, but I think if it was a huge success, then maybe they would do it, but I don't know, like, it bombed in the box office. I don't know if
It
it did well
like,
in
dude,
streaming.
this movie bombed. Period.
Yeah, yeah, as I
I
say, like,
mean,
it
this
bombed,
joint didn't
bombed.
even break even thus far. I mean, maybe it does like with the being on HBO Max.
I think this is a wrap. I think this is the end of this story right here. I don't think they're gonna
Um,
make another
well,
one.
you know what? If it's a wrap and they came out with a sequel, I would be okay with either one. So it's like, oh, this not
Fair
coming out,
enough.
then it's not a sequel. It's like, okay, I'm okay with that. Oh, it's like
Fair enough.
episodic, it's a
Fair
show.
enough.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with either one because
Mhm.
it was a tough movie to watch because it was so long and so corny and so cheesy. It could have been better.
Mhm.
I wanted it to be better, but it wasn't. So, what are you
Yeah.
rating Moonfall?
Um, if I had to rate it, I would say maybe like a 6. Like, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. It was okay. It
Yeah.
was a popcorn movie. Like, you just eat some popcorn and just whatever,
Yeah,
turn your
yeah.
brain off.
You're right. You're right with that. You know
It
what?
wasn't off, but it wasn't awful. I didn't hate it. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna agree with you and I'm gonna go with the 6 too. It wasn't it could have been so much better, right?
Mhm.
If they do come out with a sequel, you gotta like clean house because I don't understand the whole comedy, the slapstick part of this movie, right?
They
It's just
can't
like,
afford these actors to do a show like this if this movie didn't make any
yeah, you
money.
know, $150
They
million.
can't afford that.
dollars. The
No,
joint already made thus far it made $70 million, you know, total. I don't know,
it's
like
not
60
enough.
million basically. So
It would be a
yeah, I'm
bomb
giving
if
it
it
a
made
6
100
too.
million. So
Yeah, right. You
70 is
know,
worse.
right. You know, I mean, so I don't know. So I'm giving it a 6. Keo gave it a 6.
Mhm.
Moonfall, it's an interesting movie. It could be better. I think if you watched it, you would understand how it can be better
Mhm.
and how this show or this movie could have been better as a show. Because then you could
Mhm.
have done the slapstick and all the other stuff, right? You could have done all
Yeah, well,
that.
you could have some silliness in there, and it's okay. It doesn't take away from
Right.
the thing. But
Exactly.
I think you're right. It probably would have been more interesting as a TV show with
As
the
a show.
mystery kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to get to the moon. You just have the moon's getting closer. That's it. That's all you gotta
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
No,
And there
you
were
don't
a
have to
lot of
explain
things
it.
that they didn't explain that they should have, which I thought were really exciting, but they
Mhm.
didn't, you know. So I gave it a 6. Keo gave it a 6.
Yeah.
Moonfall. If you have 2.5 hours to spare uh,
For an okay movie, two and a
for an
half hours,
okay
no big
movie,
deal.
that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't. It's so disappointing when these people who put out these movies know it sucks and still make it a 2-hour movie.
Mhm.
I don't get that.
Yeah, you gotta cut
You
and
got to cut
trim,
it.
man. You gotta
You got to cut and
get
trim, dude.
yeah.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.